The Story of Gildong, Chapter 14, Trouble in the Kingdom. An old sage was meditating alone. Suddenly, lightning flashed brightly in his mind. He saw a blue dragon flying high above the land. A boy rode on its back, laughing. The dragon shot straight toward the palace. The sage stood up, shaking.
That was a troubling vision,
he thought.
The boy on the dragon is a threat to the kingdom. I must speak to the king right away.
Police Chief Hup bowed to the king.
Your Majesty, a temple in Hapchan was robbed,
he said. The king frowned.
Why are you bothering me with such small matters?
Just then, an old sage appeared and bowed.
I had a terrible vision, Your Majesty.
The sage told the king about the boy and the dragon.
The boy will cause trouble in the kingdom. You must do something.
The king laughed.
You all worry too much over little things. I'm the king. No one would dare challenge me.
After robbing the temple, the bandits lived well. They didn't need to go out every day to steal. Everyone was happy, except Gildong.
I left home to find my own destiny. But now I'm leading a group of thieves,
he thought. His father's words rang in his ears.
Always remember to do good in the world.
So, boss,
Mok said, interrupting Gildong's thoughts.
what should we rob next?
We shouldn't steal again anytime soon.
Gildong said.
Soldiers are probably still searching for us. And the stuff we stole will last us a long time.
Mok smiled.
I'm glad we have a smart leader like you.
A thief named Chibong brought a small boy over.
I found him by our storehouse,
Chibong said. Mok stomped his foot.
You little thief!
The boy burst into tears. I didn't steal anything. I was looking for food for me and my sister. Our parents died, so we're all alone. Gildong looked at the boy. He was thin and dirty.
What's your name?
Gildong asked softly. Bongnam, the boy said.
What should we do with this thief?
Chibong asked. Nabi frowned. He's just a hungry boy.
Besides, we stole our food too,
Gildong said. At that, Mok and Chibong stopped scowling.
Give him a bowl of rice. He can stay here tonight.
Gildong said.
We've got so much food. Let's take some down to the people in town tomorrow.
Bongnam wiped his tears. Thank you. Gildong smiled at the boy.
You're welcome.
The Story of Gildong, Chapter 15, The Poor Town. A group of bandits loaded a cart with food the next day. Gildong led them into town. The buildings looked shabby. The market stalls were mostly empty.
This town is really poor.
Gildong thought. An old, thin woman was in the street. Do you need some rice? Nabi held out a small sack. The woman's eyes lit up. Thank you. A few people gathered around the cart. The thieves handed out more rice.
Bongnam!
A little girl cried. She ran toward the cart.
Sunny, we have food!
Bongnam said. Gildong grabbed a few sacks of rice.
Here, you can take these home.
We don't have a house anymore.
Sunhi said.
Oh,
Gildong said.
then you can stay with us from now on.
While the other bandits handed out food, Gildong looked around.
I wonder if anyone sells books.
He thought, but he didn't see any books in the market. He went to a candlemaker's stall to ask. Suddenly, a farmer pushed Gildong aside.
You sold me bad candles!
The farmer yelled at the young candlemaker. He tossed some candles to the ground. They cracked open and dirt spilled out.
Give me back my money!
The young man shook with fear.
I'm sorry, I don't have much wax, and I need money quickly.
Gildong stepped in front of the farmer. He held out some coins.
Does this cover the cost of the candles you bought?
The farmer took the coins and nodded.
If this guy cheats anyone else, I'll report him to an official!
The candlemaker looked at Gildong.
Thank you for helping me.
It's okay.
Gildong said.
But why do you need money so quickly?
I needed food for my sick mother,
The man said.
so I borrowed a small sack of rice from a landowner. Now I must pay him back.
I can help you repay him.
Gildong said. They went to the cart and Gildong grabbed a sack of rice. The candlemaker looked sheepish.
I also have to pay him interest. Every day the rice I owe doubles.
Gildong blinked.
You only borrowed one small sack of rice. How many days has it been?
22?
The man said nervously.
That's a lot of rice!
Gildong was shocked.
I need to pay soon, or the landowner will make me his servant.
The candlemaker said. Gildong shook his head.
The landowner is really unfair. Let's go talk to him.
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 16, Gildong's Announcement. Gildong went with the candlemaker to see the landowner.
I'm here to pay my debt.
The candlemaker gave the landowner a sack of rice. The landowner stroked his beard.
Where's the interest?
Don't you think the interest is too high?
Gildong said. The landowner crossed his arms.
That man agreed to pay. If he can't, he will become my servant. That should teach him a lesson.
Fine,
Gildong said.
I'll pay.
He waved his fan.
Day 1.
The rice doubled, bursting the sack. The landowner's eyes went wide.
What's happening?
I'm paying the interest.
Gildong kept waving the fan. The rice doubled and doubled.
Day 15. Day 16.
Rice rose up to the landowner's nose. The room creaked as it filled with rice.
Day 19.
Okay.
The landowner said.
The debt is paid. Stop before you destroy my house!
That should teach you a lesson.
Gildong folded the fan, and the rice disappeared. One sack sat in front of the landowner. Gildong glared at him.
If I ever hear about your cruel loans again, I'll be back.
Gildong was quiet all afternoon. He was sad that so many people were poor and hungry. He was sad that landowners gave out unfair loans. What's wrong, little lord? Nabi asked.
I'm glad we helped the people in town,
Gildong said.
but I wish we could do more.
Mok slapped him on the back.
You're smart, boss. Maybe you can think of something.
Soon, Gildong knew just what to do. He gathered everyone to announce his plan.
Many people in this kingdom need help.
He said,
So from now on, we won't just steal for ourselves. We'll give what we steal to poor people. And we'll only steal from greedy nobles and officials.
The bandits cheered.
Our group needs a name.
Chibong said. Mok scratched his head.
What can we call a group that helps the poor?
Gildong smiled.
The Hualbindang!
Hooray for the Hualbindang!
Everyone cried.
What should we do first?
Mok asked.
I heard that farmers in Hamhung are starving.
Chibong said.
The governor takes all their grain as tax. If they don't have grain, he takes whatever else they have.
That's horrible.
Nabi said.
The government storehouse must be so full.
Gildong said. Mok grinned.
Let's rob it.
Chibong shook his head.
The old royal villa is there. Soldiers guard the city closely.
Gildong said.
I know a way to distract the soldiers.
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 17, The Leader of the Hualbindang. For days, the Hualbindang trained with spears and swords. Gildong taught them everything he had read about weapons and fighting.
Robbing the temple was easy.
Gildong said.
Robbing a government storehouse will be much more dangerous.
When he thought they were ready, they went to Hamhung. Outside the city, some of the Hualbindang gathered straw. Late that night, they went to the old royal villa. They piled the straw outside the walls. Gildong took out his fan.
Fire!
The whoosh! The straw lit up in a bright blaze. The governor in Hamhung was eating a late dinner. Outside, he heard the city bells ringing. He sighed.
I hope it's nothing important.
Just then, the captain of the city soldiers arrived.
Why are you interrupting my meal?
The governor snapped.
Sir, there's a fire at the royal villa.
The captain said.
What?
The governor ran outside. He saw flames in the distance.
Quick, we must put out the fire!
I already sent some soldiers.
The captain said.
Some soldiers?
The governor cried.
It's the royal villa! Send every soldier in the city! Wake the townspeople too!
The Gildongs were waiting near the government office. Gildong watched as soldiers ran out the gate.
Just as I thought. All the soldiers are leaving to put out the fire,
he said.
No one's guarding the storehouse. Let's go!
The thieves made their way into the government office. They loaded grain and valuables from the storehouse onto carts.
There's so much here.
Mok said. When they finished, Gildong put a sign on the gate.
What does that say?
Chibong asked.
The Gildongs were here.
Gildong said.
This is your punishment for unfair taxes. Don't mistreat the people again.
Lord Hong listened as Police Chief Hup reported to the king.
Someone started a fire at the royal villa?
The king cried.
The government office was robbed too? Who's responsible?
These bandits are the same ones who robbed the temple in Hapchan. They call themselves the Gildong. People say their leader is a boy, Hong Gildong. He gives the stolen grain to the poor.
A boy is causing all this trouble?
The king cried. Lord Hong gasped.
It can't be.
He thought.
Are you all right, Minister?
The king asked.
I apologize, Your Majesty. I'm suddenly feeling unwell.
Lord Hong said.
Please excuse me.
Lord Hong bowed. As he left, he heard the king's command.
Chief Hup, capture Hong Gildong!
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 18, The Rescue. For months, the Gildongs punished greedy officials. They gave grain to the people. News of the bandits spread far and wide. Soldiers were searching all over for the Gildongs. One day, Gildong returned to the hideout. When he arrived, Mok was waiting.
We have a problem, boss.
Mok said. He took Gildong to see Chibong. Chibong's face had bruises. Nabi was wrapping his arm with a bandage.
What happened?
Gildong asked.
My team got captured in Mungyang.
Chibong said.
I barely managed to escape. The rest of them are still there in jail.
We need to rescue our friends,
Nabi said.
The jail is heavily guarded.
Chibong said.
We'll need a good plan.
Mok looked at Gildong.
What are we going to do?
Gildong thought for a moment.
I have an idea,
he said. He scribbled some words onto a scroll. Then he looked at Mok.
We need to find you some new clothes.
Nabi giggled.
You look like a real noble, Uncle Mok.
Mok was dressed like an official.
Are you sure this will work?
He asked Gildong.
Can't you use your fan power to blow down the jail?
Gildong shook his head.
That's not a good idea. We need to free everyone quickly and quietly.
Gildong and Mok went to the jail in Mungyang. At the gate, a guard stepped out.
Halt! Who are you and why are you here?
The governor of Gyeongsang sent me. I have a message from him.
Mok said. Gildong held up a scroll. The guard reached for it.
No, the message is for the warden.
Mok said. The warden appeared and took the scroll from Gildong. The guard looked over the warden's shoulder.
What does it say?
Read it for yourself.
The warden snapped.
I don't know how to read,
the guard said. The warden sighed.
It says the governor orders us to release our prisoners. The men we captured aren't Walbingdong men. They're the governor's spies.
Really?
The guard asked. The warden gave Mok a suspicious look.
Something doesn't seem right about this message.
How dare you question the governor's orders?
Mok snapped.
He'll be very angry if he hears.
Okay,
the warden said. Soon the warden released the prisoners. The Walbingdong made their way toward the city walls. Gildong saw a group of men coming through the gate. He recognized their uniforms.
We've got trouble,
Gildong said.
The royal police are coming.
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 19, The Police Chief's Search. Gildong watched the royal police come through the gate. Mok puffed out his chest.
We can beat these guys.
If we make a scene, the town gates will close,
Gildong said.
Everyone split up and get back to the hideout quickly. I'll distract the royal police.
As you say, boss,
Mok said. The police headed toward the jail. Gildong followed them.
You let those prisoners go?
Police Chief Hup roared at the guard.
The governor gave the order.
The guard shrugged.
A messenger had a scroll.
You fool!
The chief said.
The Walbingdong tricked you so easily. I'll capture them.
Gildong followed the police out of town. When they got to the mountain, he opened his fan.
Illusion.
Hup led his men up a road. They traveled for hours. At last, he saw an inn.
We'll stop and rest,
He said. The soldiers ate dinner. Meanwhile, a boy came in. He sat next to Hup.
Are you looking for Gildong?
The boy whispered. Hup nodded.
Do you know where the Huolbindong hideout is?
Of course,
The boy said.
In fact, I've been looking for a strong man like you. You can help me capture Gildong. Follow me.
Hup looked around the inn.
What about my men?
The boy frowned.
You look strong, but your men don't. Gildong is really powerful. It's safer if we go by ourselves.
Hup and the boy went deep into the woods.
We're close to the hideout,
The boy said.
Great. I'll capture Gildong for sure.
Hup grinned and glanced at the boy, but the boy was gone.
Police chief,
A voice rang out.
your search for Gildong has angered the heavens. You will go to the land of darkness to be judged.
Hup looked around. The woods were empty. Where had the voice come from? He stood up tall.
Come out, whoever you are. I'm not afraid of you.
Suddenly, everything went black. Hup was blindfolded.
Welcome to the land of darkness.
The voice boomed. Hup shook with fear.
Please let me go. I don't want to be dead.
Ha ha ha!
A boy laughed. The blindfold was removed. Hup saw the boy who had led him into the forest.
I told you Gildong is powerful.
The boy said.
I should know because...
Hup gasped.
You're Gildong!
Yes,
Gildong smiled.
I'm far more powerful than you. So don't bother trying to capture me.
The Story of Gildong, Chapter 20, More Gildongs. A few days later, Gildong was in the town near the hideout. The Huolbindong were giving grain and cloth to the poor.
Gildong!
An old man said.
You're our hero!
Gildong smiled. He handed a sack of rice to the candle maker.
Thank you for helping me again.
The young man said. I wish we could help more people, Nabi said.
Me too.
Mok smiled.
But we have only one boss. Wouldn't it be great if there were two Gildongs?
Gildong laughed.
Sorry, there's only one of me.
But Mok's joke gave Gildong an idea. Back at the hideout, he gathered some straw and started making something. When he was done, there were 7 figures made of straw. Nabi laughed. Can I play with your dolls?
They're not dolls.
Gildong said. He opened his fan.
Come to life!
The figure suddenly sprang up. Now they looked just like Gildong. Nabi's eyes went wide.
Amazing!
Whoa!
Mok cried.
There's 7 more Gildongs!
Gildong nodded and turned back to his creations.
Each of you will lead a Hualbindang group. Go out to every part of the country. Remember our role. We punish bad officials and help the poor.
The Gildongs all puffed out their chests.
Yes, sir!
Every day, the king heard new reports of the Hualbindang. They robbed government storehouses all over the country. They stole from nobles everywhere. The king scowled when Police Chief Hup arrived at the palace.
You fool! You didn't capture Gildong, and now he seems to be everywhere! How can he be in 8 places in one day?
I'm sorry, Your Majesty.
Hup looked down.
I have failed to capture Gildong so far, but I am on his trail. In fact, I just learned something new about the boy. Hong Gildong is the low-born son of Lord Hong.
What?
The king roared.
Bring Lord Hong here now!
Actually, sir,
Hup said,
perhaps we should place him under house arrest. When Gildong hears about the arrest, he'll go to his father's home.
The king looked pleased.
We'll capture him then for sure.
One morning, Gildong saw Nabi running to him.
Little lord, I've heard terrible news about your father,
she said.
The king found out you're Lord Hong's son. Your father is under house arrest.
Gildong jumped up.
I have to go to him. I need to fix this.
He took out his fan.
To Lord Hong's house!
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 21, Surrender. Gildong landed in the yard at Lord Hong's house. Inhyun screamed.
Don't hurt me, Gildong! I know all about your powers!
I'm not here to hurt you,
Gildong said.
I'm here to see Lord Hong.
Inhyun scowled.
He's sick and in trouble because of you! You're evil.
I'm not evil. The Hualbindang are helping people,
Gildong said.
You're lying!
Inhyun waved his arms.
Chief Hup, Gildong is here.
Hup rushed into the yard with 2 men.
Soldiers!
They held out spears and ran toward Gildong and Inhyun.
Wind gust!
Gildong swung his fan, and a heavy wind blew, swirling dust everywhere. The men fell down, and their weapons blew away.
Get up and capture him!
Hup shouted. As the dust cleared, Hup's men charged toward Gildong and Inhyun again. Gildong held his fan.
Switch!
Inhyun backed toward the wall, while Gildong froze. The men tackled Gildong and held him down. Hup smiled.
Got you, Gildong!
Suddenly, there was a scream at the gate.
Let my son go!
Lady Yu shouted. Hup looked again at the boy on the ground. It wasn't Gildong. It was Inhyun. Hup groaned.
Gildong got away!
Gildong tried to think of another plan for helping his father. But then he heard more news. The king had sent Lord Hong to prison. One night, Gildong looked up at the moon.
I have to free Lord Hong,
he thought.
If I fail, the king will find a worse punishment for him. But how can I free him without getting captured?
The next morning, he saw Sunhee and Bongnam. They were playing with dolls made of straw. Bongnam held up a doll.
I am Hong Gildong. 4 of you go north.
Sunhee said.
3 of you go south. Punish bad people.
She waved the dolls around. Gildong looked at the dolls.
That's it!
Gildong arrived at the palace gate.
I am Hong Gildong, leader of the Hwalbindang.
The guards pointed their spears at him. Gildong raised his hands.
I am here to surrender.
The gate captain grinned.
I have Gildong. The king will be so pleased.
He rushed into the palace. The king was meeting with the police chief. The captain bowed.
Your Majesty, Hong Gildong has surrendered at the gate.
Gildong is playing tricks on us again!
The king cried.
How many is that now, Chief Hup?
That makes 7, sir.
Hup groaned.
So far, 7 Gildongs have surrendered.
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 22. Which one is real? The 7 Gildongs were brought to the king.
Which of you is the real Hong Gildong?
The king asked.
I am, Your Majesty.
One said.
No, I am, Your Majesty.
Another said.
You're too ugly to be me.
A third said to the second. The second Gildong turned red.
How dare you insult me in front of the king?
The 7 Gildongs all shouted at each other.
Silence!
The king yelled.
Chief Hup, you've seen Gildong before. Which is the real one?
Hup inspected the Gildongs.
Nice to see you again.
One said. Another grinned.
Have I caused you too much trouble?
They all look the same, Your Majesty.
Hup said. The king frowned.
Certainly his father would know. Chief Hup, bring Lord Hong here!
The Gildongs grew quiet when Lord Hong appeared. He seemed to be in pain as he bowed to the king.
Your Majesty,
he said.
Since my lowborn son left home, I have been sick with worry. Now I have little time left to live, but I am here to serve you.
Then prove your loyalty. Tell me which one is real.
the king shouted. Hup led Lord Hong to the Gildongs. But all 7 were identical. Lord Hong shook with fear.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I cannot tell which is the real Gildong.
How can you not know your own child?
The king roared.
Your low-born boy has done terrible crimes. When I find the real Gildong, I'll punish you both!
At this, Lord Hong collapsed.
Your lordship!
The Gildongs rushed over to Lord Hong. They each took medicine from their sleeves and gave it to him. Soon his eyes opened, and he looked at them with sadness. Palace guards took Lord Hong away.
I'm sorry,
a Gildong called out.
Quiet, you!
Hup growled, kicking the Gildong. Poof! The Gildong turned into a straw figure. Everyone in the courtyard gasped.
Now there's 6 left,
the king said.
Find the real one!
Hup kicked another Gildong hard. Poof! That one turned to straw too. He kicked the Gildongs one by one. Each one turned to straw. Finally, Hup reached the last Gildong. He took out his sword and grinned.
Your crimes end now!
Gildong smiled as a strong wind blew. He shot into the air. Hup looked up. Gildong was floating on a cloud above the crowd.
Eve Hup! Get him!
The king ordered.
Archers!
Hup cried.
Fire your arrows!
The Story of Hong Gildong, Chapter 23, Gildong's Request. Arrows flew toward Gildong. He waved his fan, and the arrows fell to the ground.
Fire again!
Hup cried.
Don't bother,
Gildong said.
I am more powerful than anyone here, and I did not come to fight. I came as your majesty's loyal servant.
Loyal?
The king shouted.
You're nothing but a low-born criminal!
Yes, I am lowborn, but I serve your majesty and help the kingdom. The Hualbindang punish greedy nobles and officials. We feed the hungry and help the poor. And so, as your loyal servant, I have a request.
The king glared at Gildong.
What is it?
Lord Hong has also served the kingdom loyally for many years. As you saw...
Gildong closed his eyes for a moment.
He is already unwell because of me. He should not be punished further for my deeds. I ask your majesty to free him from prison.
The king thought for a moment. Then he sighed.
Fine. I'll release Lord Hong.
Gildong floated down to the ground and bowed.
Thank you, your majesty.
Poof! The last Gildong turned to straw. The real Gildong was alone at the hideout, thinking.
Lord Hong is free now, but I put him in danger. And I've caused him so much heartache. How can I ever face him again?
That night, Gildong had a dream. He was in the land of the gods. Lord Hong stepped out of the mist.
I'm sorry, your lordship,
Gildong said.
No, my son, I am sorry.
Lord Hong said.
I wish I had said this sooner. You may call me father.
In the morning, Gildong woke up and burst outside. Mok rushed over.
What's wrong?
I must see my father right now.
Gildong opened his fan.
Home!
But when he arrived, he was too late. His father was dead. Gildong sank to his knees.
Farewell, father.
As time passed, Gildong thought of his father often. Meanwhile, the Hualbindang continued their work. They were more popular than ever. This made the king very angry.
I shouldn't have let Gildong go!
The king roared.
I've thought of a new way to trap him.
Hup said.
You can make Gildong a high official. That low-born boy cannot refuse your order. And he will be forced to return here.
The king stroked his beard.
Clever idea. Put up signs around the land. Announce that Gildong is my new Minister of War. And then we will get him for sure.